Hey everybody, it's Adam with the Pattaya News on what's poppin' in Pattaya. Today is July 13th, 2023, and my goodness, has it been a huge week here in Pattaya. The biggest story that we've had in the last several days has been the murder of German businessman Hans Peter Mack, who was found dismembered and mutilated inside a freezer in a Pattaya home. This has made headlines around the world, partially because of the brutality of the incident, as well as the notoriety. We're going to get into that more in just a minute, but first we'd like to thank you for tuning in, and we'd also like to invite you to subscribe, like, and follow for daily updates right here from Pattaya, Chonburi, and of course all of Thailand. Now, before we get into our biggest story of the week, we'd like to talk a little bit about events. This weekend is not going to see any major events in Pattaya. The following weekend, though, the weekend of the 22nd and 23rd, we'll see the biggest ever Pattaya Marathon with 14,000 runners from all around the world pouring right into here in Pattaya over a two-day smorgasbord of running and marathons. The biggest thing to know about this, for those of you obviously not running, we're sure many of our expat readers are all prepared and got their running boots on. But if you're not, traffic is going to be severely impeded on the mornings of both the 22nd and 23rd from around 4 a.m. or so until about 10 or 11 a.m. all around the city. So keep that in mind if you've got to go to or from anywhere on those specific days. We'll have more about the marathon next week. Now, let's jump right into our biggest story, which, as stated, was not just a big story in Pattaya, a huge story in Germany and all around the world, was the murder of German businessman Hans Peter Mack. Now, we're going to recap this briefly. On July 4th, 2023, obviously, Mr. Mack had an appointment with a German real estate broker, her name is Petra, at a restaurant/coffee shop in Pattaya to discuss a land deal. After he had this appointment, he was seen leaving the scene, but then was tailed by a number of vehicles and was never seen again. After this happened, his family immediately put out a missing notice. His family knew something was wrong because Mr. Mack was one of those individuals who had a reputation of always being responsive, always returning phone calls, never missing an appointment, always being early. So the moment he missed an appointment later that day on July 4th, they immediately knew something was wrong. The reason this became such a big story wasn't just the fact that Mr. Mack was murdered, but the fact that Mr. Mack's family offered a 3 million baht, roughly about 90,000 US dollars, reward for finding Mr. Mack safely. They also offered a 100,000 baht reward, or about 3 grand US, for finding his vehicle. His vehicle was quickly found. It appeared that it had been cleaned with bleach and other materials at a condominium complex in the Pattaya area. It's unclear who got that reward, but it doesn't really matter. Now, after his vehicle was found, police, of course, stepped up their investigation with a variety of tools, especially CCTV, and eventually tracked down their leads and clues to a villa located in the Chok Chai Garden Village here in Pattaya. Once they were able to gain access to the home with the permission of the Thai courts here in Pattaya, they tragically found that Mr. Mack was not alive, but he had been dismembered and mutilated. He had actually been cut apart by a chainsaw into 13 pieces and left inside a freezer in a home in Pattaya. Now, over the past 48 hours or so, police have been very quickly apprehending and bringing in suspects and people of interest related to the case. There's 3 main suspects. Of those suspects, one is a broker, already previously mentioned. Her name is Petra. A second is a Pakistani Thai national who was the last person to be caught. He was actually caught in Kanchanaburi trying to flee to the Myanmar border, according to police. He stated that he was forced and threatened by the third person, the ringleader of the operation, or at least the alleged ringleader, according to Thai police, a 52-year-old German national named Olaf Brinkman. Olaf was arrested at a motorcycle club in Bangkok earlier this week. He has so far stated that he is 100% innocent of all charges, but he's also refused to answer any detailed questions and is reportedly seeking legal assistance from a lawyer of his choosing. Now, as of press time, there's been no sort of bail given for anybody in this situation. It's unlikely there will be, especially for Mr. Brinkman and the Thai-Pakistani national, as both of them attempted to flee. The third suspect, Petra, who actually surrendered with her lawyer and turned herself in. There's a possibility she gets bail as she's been cooperative, but again, that's probably unlikely in our opinion. Now, police have been very busy trying to figure out exactly what the motive was in the situation, as well as connect if there was anybody else possibly connected with the crime. A fourth German woman, a disabled German woman who lived at the home in question where the body was found, was also taken into detainment but was not arrested. Police say she's not a suspect, but she's somebody they're interrogating because she was actually living at the home at the time of the incident. But they don't believe that she actually had anything to do with the plan to murder and dismember and try to hide the body of Hans Peter Mack. We've been finding more information out within the past 12 hours or so, too, that allegedly Mr. Brinkman, who also owns a small boat, was trying to get the freezer and the body of Mr. Mack onto the boat. He actually went to the Ocean Yacht Marina, allegedly, but was unable to get to that level where he was able to get the body on the boat and dump it in the ocean because of the level of police engagement and buzz, especially around that 3 million baht reward at the time, and he got arrested before they could do that. Again, though, Mr. Brinkman still says that he is 100% innocent and that his innocence will be proven in a court of law. We will see what happens. And in terms of our second big story of the week that we have for you is in the past 24 hours, Bolt taxi drivers, which are very popular with our readers, and orange-vested motorbike taxi drivers called WIN, W-I-N locally, finally had a major meeting together with leaders from both organizations, along with Pattaya city officials, law enforcement, even members of parliament that represent the Pattaya and Chonburi area, all met together yesterday because there's been a number of violent incidents, including stabbings between these two companies. It's obviously hurting tourism, as there's been reports of tourists thrown out of vehicles as taxi drivers argue and dispute over territory. That's not just a problem here. It's been a big problem in Phuket as well. But obviously, Pattaya cities are just worried about this area and about getting it under control. So both parties have come up with a couple of rules and regulations that they're going to put forward to try to stop further problems. The first one is going to be that Bolt drivers have agreed within 4 months to have all Bolt drivers properly licensed and registered. Now, this means that they need to have a public transport license, like all public taxi drivers are supposed to have in Thailand, a public transport insurance, public transport plates, public transport registration, and also be registered with a criminal and background check with the city and on file as a registered taxi driver in Pattaya at City Hall. This is what, in theory, the orange-vested drivers are all required to do. Now, I know, of course, our readers have been saying, and somebody's going to say in comments, oh, well, I know this driver or that driver who's not legal. I'm sure you do. But as an overall perspective and rule and regulation, as an organization, they're all supposed to follow these rules. And Bolt hasn't followed them, admittedly, their representatives admitted it pretty much at all. The city also wants Bolt drivers to have clear identification that they are Bolt drivers. For instance, Grab wears the very memorable green vest. You've got yellow taxi drivers from mainly a Chinese service. And of course, you've got the orange vested drivers. They want Bolt to wear clearly identifiable Bolt vests as well. And they've given them 4 months to figure it out on how they will do it. The other part of it, the more controversial part, is that the Bolt organization has agreed not to pick up customers within 100 meters of any orange-vested motorcycle taxi booth. Now, obviously, this is going to be an inconvenience for many customers. People have already been complaining on social media that they shouldn't be the ones forced to have to walk further away. And they've also stated that in Central Pattaya, where there's an orange-vested booth pretty much on every corner, where are they going to walk to be able to be picked up by a Bolt driver? That may be the case. Also, people are concerned that with all these additional rules and regulations being put on Bolt driver, which, again, to be fair, these are the governmental regulations that all taxi services are supposed to be following, that prices would rise with Bolt as a afterthought of having to meet these regulations. Whether or not that happens, we'll see. People are not too happy about this, but Bolt and motorbike taxi drivers have agreed to get along and follow these rules for now. We want to hear what you have to think about it. We're sure you have a lot to say, so please tell us in the comments and the description below. As always, guys, we thank you so much for tuning in to us. If you haven't given us a subscribe yet and hitting that little bell button so that you can stay tuned to us, but not just for our weekly roundups like this, but our daily coverage that doesn't just focus on Pattaya, but all of Thailand, please give us a like, subscribe, and follow. Until next time, guys, take care of yourselves, and that's right, as always, each other.